Rosh Hashanah and Yom Kippur are the most important of all Jewish holidays. They are observed in the fall season each year. COVID-19 presents a challenge to the traditional observances. We met Rabbi Alex Lazarus Klein and Cantor Petty Myers in a grove behind Congregation Shir Shalom to talk about how the High Holy Days will be safely observed by Congregation Shir Shalom and Temple Bzion this year.
Cantor Myers, what a pleasure
Rabbi
to have
Alex,
you here.
thank you.
It's wonderful. We're going to talk about High Holy Days today. I think
Yay.
that's maybe on our minds. What do you think?
Just a wee little bit.
So it's a little different this year. First of all, I guess we should explain what are, since we're in a pandemic and things are a little bit normal, but not everyone understands about the Jewish High Holy Days. So
Okay.
what does it mean to you?
Well, I liken it, and this is a simplified version that I use for a lot of my friends who aren't Jewish, is that I say, imagine Christmas and Easter being 10 days apart. To understand the gravity of the movement and the franticness sometimes that we feel around this time, and that at least puts a context of timing within it. But Rosh Hashanah and Yom Kippur are deeply spiritual times for me personally. Rosh Hashanah as the beginning of the first of the year, of this upcoming year of 5781, and trying to navigate how we're going to bring Yom Tov, our holidays, to our congregants in a meaningful way during a pandemic has met itself with other challenges.
Right. Well, I mean, I think one of the key things about the High Holy Days is everyone's there. Like you said, for the Christians out there, Easter and Christmas, these times where you want to be together, and that part of it has just been taken right out.
Yeah, I mean, Zoom, and with all due respect to other platforms, doing videography with is just one very narrow way to reach our congregants, and it doesn't elicit the subtle, non-verbal, non-visual cues that we could pick up on if we're in person. And that, to me, even with teaching and even leading worship this way, has been very debilitating at times, because you recognize that nobody's singing along with me. Nobody is praying or reading aloud. You can't hear the congregation breathe or sigh or move or even just feel the palpable energy when two people or more or a minion are in a room together. It's challenging.
So you're at Temple Bzion, a really historic synagogue, not just in Buffalo, but across the world, really, and over 160 years, and a preeminent building down on Delaware.
That's right.
What is it on a normal Rosh Hashanah Yom Kippur? What is it that you most look forward to about that experience?
The energy that is contained within that gorgeous campus, and every entrance, the energy is, I wish I could bottle it up, because it's the best of who we are and of our congregation. That is all, you can just feel it. It smells different. The air feels different, and I just miss seeing other human beings in person, human beings I didn't marry or create myself. That energy is something that propels me, at least with my davening, with my praying and facilitating worship, and also that energy that infuses my own soul with encouragement and confidence.
And the building is such an important part of Temple Bzion's identity.
Right.
Have you been in the building?
I have. So we have not slowed down our synagogue that much, even though our buildings, we have two campuses, are closed. Our B'nai Mitzvah program, which is a robust program here in Western New York, a lot of our students decided to postpone their B'nai Mitzvah. We decided to create a traveling Torah that we would offer our families, so that our bar and bat mitzvah aged kids, 12, 13 respectively, would be able to celebrate this life cycle event, not necessarily within our sanctuary as they had planned for years, and with their family and friends in front of them, but to bring Torah to them in a way that is representative of medieval custom and tradition of bringing a Torah within the home. So I developed a ritual surrounding this, and most of our students, I have been to the Delaware building, it is empty. Jewish Family Services is still, their offices are still running within that building. They also share space with us, so it is nice to see another human being. But I have gone into the sanctuary a handful of times to take a Torah out of our ark, and that place is breathtaking and inspiring. It's depressing, recognizing the reality of this pandemic, that it won't be filled for quite a bit.
Well, I know one of the cool things, though, you can make it a virtual space, like it can
We
be
do.
your background on
You
Zoom
can.
and other formats.
That's
and
right. The
you can-
graphics aren't that great. It's not like the real thing.
Yeah.
But, I think seeing that space provides our congregation, particularly with that sense of comfort that they so need and the familiarity. I think that's what we're all striving for, is trying to make sense of the unknown and the uncertainty, coupled with any aspect of familiarity, and to bring that sense of comfort, because we all need it. We all need it.
So one of the key things on High Holy Days, well, there's a couple of real musical things. First of all, you have a shofar, which is the ram's horn that's blasted, and that's a huge problem with COVID because it just goes even further than a singer. And then another thing is a choir,
Right.
and the whole musical component. The music is really beloved. How are you approaching both of these key issues?
Well, especially when we were starting to wrestle with what is Rosh Hashanah going to look like when we first started the conversations back in April, I actually am a little reticent to say, but I actually said we don't even need to read Torah, because Rosh Hashanah is Yom HaTeruah, is the day of the blast of the shofar, as we read in Torah in Vayikra, in the book of Leviticus, that this day is set aside not necessarily to read the Torah, but to hear the shofar blast. I was, of course, shot. I was voted down and vetoed for not having Torah read. So there are different aspects of our High Holy Day worship services. So at Temple Bzion, we have a minhag, a custom, where even before that section of the service, or with the new Machzor, the 3 sections, is broken up with the Mishkan HaNefesh.
That's the prayer book.
That's right. Mishkan HaTshuva, Mishkan HaNefesh. The way that the divisions are broken up is that we have this minhag in our gorgeous sanctuary, and outside and on the balconies is that I have a shofar choir. And the shofar choir, they have pre-designated spots in the sanctuary and in the hallway, and in that link that connects the sanctuary with the hallways, that we do a blast of crazy, I call them crazy calls, that you don't know where the next blast is coming from. So if you're sitting in the congregation, you could hear someone do a tekiah, and you'll hear burp in front of you, and then the next call just comes from out of nowhere, from behind you, or from above you, or from down the aisle. And the congregation really enjoys listening to that, because it's the warm-up to that musaf, to those additional services. So this year we're not going to be doing that. This year I'm putting the shofar choir on hold. It's usually about 8 to 10, like an ensemble. They blow somewhat in unison. Now, a shofar, ram's horn, depending on whether it's a Yemenite, or depending on the ram, or if it's polished or unpolished, they all produce different timbres, different pitches, and so the calls may be the same. However, the sounds aren't, and that cacophonous sound is really what is the most important part of this hearkening, this stirring in our kishkas. So I will have probably 1 or 2 designated balei tekiah, shofar blowers. One may be my own son, who has been in my house, and he is part of our shofar choir to mitigate any kind of contamination. We will be doing the shofar service live during Rosh Hashanah. However, the main musical pieces that you spoke about are certainly the depth and breadth of the musical legacy that we as Jews have and that we at Temple Bzion have. So we are pre-recording with a mini quartet, socially distanced and spaced, videographing those main, what I call holy cow pieces of music that Temple Bzion, no matter what, could never live without for Rosh Hashanah and Yom Kippur. So those will be pre-recorded. As we do our live services, they'll be dropped in at those appropriate times in the mapeh, in the service itself.
Beautiful. What a great thing. So I know for a lot of the Jewish community, this kind of bittersweet time because we can't have the rituals. Do you have advice for Jews out there that are struggling to find their traditions in this time where we can't be together?
Yeah, I do. I often tell families, especially those who struggle with ritual or finding meaning in the ritual, that it's not about you yourself performing the ritual, but it's about and serving that ritual, but it's about ritual or mitzvah serving you. To find something new to usher in this year. Whether it be sitting outside and just recognizing and being present in the moment. If anything, I think this pandemic has caused the world to have a hard reset. I think it will inspire goodness and positivity in a way that maybe we have never seen before. And so create a new ritual. I do believe that that everything we do is ritualized, whether we are aware of it or not, and celebrate that moment.
Wonderful. Well, a happy Shana Tova to you and to all of our audience. A sweet and happy New